So weird.
All right, check 1 2 3. Check 1 2 3. Let me know if you can hear that, Luke. Check 1 2 3.
Yeah, don't turn on mic 3. Don't turn it on.
I'm not going to. This should be mic 1. No, it's not mic 1.
Hello, 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 hello.
Check.
Keep speaking.
Hello, hello, hello. Can you hear us?
everybody.
It's
Ground
delayed.
control.
I'm not hearing
to
anything.
Major Tom.
I think this is working.
Can you hear us?
No, but you're quieter. I just need Velzy to speak.
Oh,
Hello, 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 hello.
And we're all good.
Good.
Cool.
Good.
All right.
Tap your microphone for me.
No, it's
Luke.
good. It's good.
No, I need to see which mics are which, son. Tap your microphone for me. Now you do yours, Bubba. All right, here we go.
Cool. All right. Ooh.
All right, sorry about that, guys. Welcome back to the Coach's Show. Take it away, Felsi. Sorry for the technical delays. We're about 11 minutes behind schedule. Take it away, Felsi.
No worries. So welcome back. Back with Coach Bubba.
Yellow again.
Before we got interrupted, we were talking about how practice seemed like it was on the upside last week, and then going into the game, you guys started off super strong, and then it seemed like it dwindled away a little bit. Talk about the game a little bit.
Yeah, and I don't want to underscore enough how good practice was last week. I was really excited going into it. This is something we just can't seem to figure out with our guys this year. Practice was great, and then when we got to the game, it's just we're not seeing that fire, that heart from all 11 guys on the field. And it's not to say that there aren't guys out there giving it their all. We're kind of not seeing it from everybody, and that's kind of what the problem has been over and over again. Going into the game, like we kind of said before, we got cut off, was we brought up a bunch of younger kids this week, and all of them played phenomenal. Gavin Robinson had 4 or 5 catches, maybe a couple more. He had one that I know got called back on a penalty, but he did exactly what we were hoping for. Good, sharp, crisp routes. Caught the ball, got the ball upfield, and just kind of got out of the way, didn't get hit. Seamus Lemon did another on the other side of the ball, or on the other side of him, did a good job running his routes, and they gave us a little bit of kind of freshness and crispness on the offense. And then defensively, we had a bunch of young guys kind of step in and play pretty good. One of them in Brandon Hobbs, who had played tight end for us a couple weeks before, and then we brought him in and kind of threw him in at defensive end about maybe second quarter or so, and really didn't work it a ton during the week, and really did a good job being thrown into that situation. I thought Colton Lewis stepped up. There's a couple times where it looked bad, where he got beats on pass plays, but I wasn't really worried about the pass stuff. I really wanted a guy that was going to come up and hit, and he made tackles. Every time that the ball was kind of around him, he stepped up and made a hit, and that's exactly what we were looking for this week.
Yeah, exactly what we talked about last week is getting those guys experience.
Right,
and
right.
that's exactly what they got this week. And that's a good thing going into your last 3 games. Maybe they will be even a bigger contributor and maybe push the other guys to want it a little bit more. But let's talk about this week's practice. You said last week's practice were super good.
Right.
How are this week's practices?
So it's Monday. We only had one day, but we're kind of mixing it up with the guys. We're, we went real hard, real long with a lot of hitting the last couple weeks. This week we are literally going just helmet. We're kind of mixing stuff up a little bit, and hoping for a little bit of a different outcome when it comes to game time. And plus too, with like the short week, and it was a very physical game on Saturday, and a lot of the kids are still real sore. And we just kind of talked about it and let's just go helmets. We'll go helmets today. We did all defensive stuff today, kind of mix some stuff up a little bit. Got a few different guys in, moving some guys to different positions. Going to give it a little bit of a different look this week on defense. And then next week tomorrow we'll get into our offensive stuff. And I think we're finally at a point where we can start doing some fun things, and we're going to look pretty good offensively.
Yeah, and I hope the kids aren't defeated, because you only got to win 2 out of the next 3, and Democracy Prep's a very winnable game.
Right, but this is the problem that we've had all year. Everybody we've played has been a very winnable game. And I'm not a guy to kind of blow smoke up anybody's butt when it comes to what's going on. And I'm pretty honest with the kids. And, even when we sat here and talked last week, I felt last week's game, they were a very beatable team. And we just have to do our thing and go out there and we can get a win. It's the same kind of thing this week. I think Democracy is a team that they're scary in the fact that they've got athletes. There's nothing crazy or elaborate that they're running offensively. I think we can do a good job recognizing what they're going to do on offense and kind of being in the right place. Again, it comes down to the heart and the will to actually make the tackles and make the plays. Offensively, I think we're going to be in a very good situation this week with some guys that we've got coming back. I'm going to throw it out there right now. Officially, Gage is back this week. And that's going to give us a huge boost on both offense and defense. And it's today when I got the phone call that he was officially cleared to play, I'm not going to lie, I felt like a weight lifted off of me because we've just needed that guy on the field that just kind of takes charge, and he's not going to put up with guys not giving it 100%. Today we kind of worked him in on defense, and already he's that coach on the field that we haven't had for 6 weeks now. He's out there, and we've got other guys that are that step up and lead, but Gage is just a different beast with it. There's a respect that he has earned from the kids that it doesn't come across as whiny or complaining. It's, hey, you need to do this. This is what we're doing. Let's go. And the kids respond. So just that little bit this week already has been huge for us,
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I didn't know he was back yet. I didn't want to say anything, but
we're letting everybody know.
No,
we're excited.
That's awesome. No, I'm really excited to see how the last 3 games end for you guys, and I really think that this could be the week that you guys break that cycle, and hopefully, everybody should just be excited. Truthfully, everybody should be excited for this upcoming game.
There is definitely a little bit of that wet blanket kind of being taken off people at this point. I got into a little bit of discussion with some people this week, and a lot of, parents and fans and stuff like that, really wanting to know why we aren't just letting everybody play. That's not what we're doing here. We're still trying to win the games. We're still trying to put the best product on the field. And I think now having someone back like that really can kind of take us to that next level. It's kind of like we've just been spinning our tires a little bit, and offensively, we haven't been playing bad. We've been moving the ball each week, and we've only scored 2 touchdowns in the last 3 weeks. So it's not like we're lighting up the scoreboard, but we've been moving the ball, and it's gotten to a point or especially early in the games where we're getting down into the red zone, close to the red zone, and then we just can't make a play. We're getting drops on 3rd down. On this week, a couple times we had guys running routes too short on 4th down. Those are inexcusable mistakes that we've been making, and now having someone that's not going to allow those mistakes to kind of keep going is going to be huge for us.
No, I absolutely agree, and I feel like having someone like that is going to elevate, like you said, others' play.
Right.
It's going to be fun to watch you guys for the rest of the season. I really hope that everybody really responds to someone like that being back, and I think they will.
And it really is. We're able to do a lot of things that we've kind of been working on, and I've been, Gage just understands the game so well that there's already stuff that next week we haven't kind of built up to, but me and him have been talking. He's been showing me some stuff that he likes. I've been talking to him about some of the stuff I like that we're really going to go into with a lot of different stuff that we haven't been able to do just because of his experience and his athletic ability and what he could do with his arm and his legs, so it's going to be a lot of fun.
That's awesome. And I want to talk at least about a positive from the game. Your wide receivers, I mean, maybe not every route was crisp or whatever, but made catches. Truthfully, you guys moved the ball down the field, and Cam Matthews, props to him. He was delivering last game. He might have made some mistakes, but overall, he was getting the ball out, and people were making catches. And that's a positive going into next week, having really someone that can sling the ball to him.
Yeah, and he did, and it's funny that now we've got Gage back, but he made a huge stride last week in really finally starting to understand, hey, this is where we're looking. Get the ball out on time and let these guys go out and play. And, he did a good job early in the game. We still completed some of our, quick screens and stuff like that. Our run game looked a little bit better this week. But, it's still, there was times early in the game where we held on to the ball a little bit too long. And it looked like our line wasn't blocking, but when you're not getting rid of the ball in 3, 4, 5 seconds, like blocking's gonna break down, So it was good steps this week, and very excited for what we got rolling, And honestly, with our defense too, I was telling the boys today when we were looking at it, like if you watch the film, we're, like I said, it's that heart and the effort thing that we're not getting, but the kids were understanding their assignments. There's a bunch of plays, and I started doing this kind of, just make-believe land. I would pause the play about a second in, and everybody was in their right gap. Everybody was in the right spot. And if you just paused it right there and then didn't watch the rest of the play, you'd be like, oh my God, these guys, there's no way they scored a point against you guys. I don't think they even got a first down. But we'd get there, we'd be in the right spot, and then somehow we just wouldn't finish the play. So I think that's one of the things that we're harping on this week with these guys. And I think with a little bit of a different alignment on defense and making sure we get our guys that are like the actual like dogs that are going to go in there and finish, getting them in positions to where they can make the plays. I think we're going to be set up pretty good for the little last run and get ourselves into the playoffs. And I keep telling the kids, all we got to do is get into the playoffs. Once we get in, anything can happen.
Anything.
The way it's kind of working right now, looks like we'll be like a 5 or 6 seed, which means we would have to go to Mater or Virgin. And I love the opportunity to go to their place and play those two teams that I think are very beatable teams if we just show up and do our job. Nothing even special. Just do what our kids are coached up to do and make the simple, easy plays.
Yeah, I think your guys did really well on defense. They made it hard for them going down this field, and then just one play would pop,
right,
and then they would score. So I think you're absolutely right, and especially Mater or Matter, whatever it is. Right. You guys held your own with them most of the game, so it's gonna be interesting to see how the season ends out for you guys.
For this.
But you play Democracy Prep, and that's all we really have for the coaches, or that's all we have for Coach Bubba. But we do have special guests coming up. Coach Krakalici with the Boulder Bears. And Coach Bubba, are you staying up here too, maybe?
Oh, I'm not staying up
here. Okay, Coach, no.
I can't be on the same stage as these guys because, like, who's going to look at the kids when I'm on stage?
No.
All right, so we're going to bring
Coach
Crack up and the Boulder City Bears, so everyone just stand by for just a minute while we change out.
All righty.
Perfect. Awesome. So, welcome back, Coach. You've had a pretty good season so far, especially in the youth level and the 8th grade level. I know they've had a little bit of a 2-2 or maybe 3-3, but showing very, very much promise.
Yes, actually, our youth program is really moving in the right direction, and I think it's showing that the future of Boulder City football is bright. That we're doing all the right things to try to get the right kind of players and the right kind of system in through the high school. Currently, our 8th grade team is 2-2, but they're still working on getting into that last playoff spot. There's still 2 games left in the regular season, so there's plenty of time for them to make those moves. I think they have games that they could pick up in the next over the next 3 weeks. There's a bye week in between. Our last 2 games. Our 6th grade team is currently 4-0, clinched a playoff spot already.
Nice.
So right now we're just looking at trying to solidify the number 1 spot. We have actually played the hardest schedule out of all the other teams. We haven't played any of the bottom of the division teams. Every team that we've beaten is currently sitting in a playoff spot or just on the outside of the playoffs. So I think that that team is battle tested and ready to go when the first kickoff comes in that playoff. I think that team's going to be a force to be reckoned with. And I'm not just saying that because that happens to be the team that I'm coaching.
No, that's awesome. No, it's great to hear that it's going. You're getting a lot of success because mostly you just want to see the kids improve. But when they're winning too, that's awesome. That's amazing. You like to see the smiles, and honestly, it builds camaraderie as they grow up. But let's talk about your coach here. So, what do you do for the team?
So my name is Coach Red. I'm the offensive and defensive line coach. I joined last year with them, so I was with them for their first year.
Nice.
Now rolling to the second.
That's awesome.
It's a great team.
That's awesome.
And Coach Red was actually the first coach that our organization hired.
That's awesome.
He happened to see, we had, maybe the team was around for a week, 2 weeks, and I get a message on Facebook, hey, you guys looking for coaches? I just moved back into town. And we interviewed him, Coach Bubba interviewed him, and we talked, and we're like, this guy is the real deal.
That's
Bring
awesome.
him in. And I'll tell you, there is no better ambassador for our program than Coach Red, which is why I brought him up. As nervous as he probably is right now, being on camera, the kids love him. He knows the game. He pushes them, but they will run through a wall for this guy.
That's
so
awesome.
I wanted to make sure to get his face out there so everyone knew who Coach Red was.
No, that's awesome, and thanks for coming back and
Thanks for having
coaching
me. Sure.
some of the guys. You know, that's really awesome. You said you're a line coach?
Yes.
Nice.
D-line, yes, sir.
Nice. So how's that? You know, maybe. Or no, it's yeah. How is that at the younger level? Honestly, you're teaching them something very valuable.
With the sixth graders, it definitely was like trying to kind of herd cats at first, but
Gotcha.
second half of the season, it definitely clicked and they're getting it.
Awesome.
Definitely more fundamentals. They're getting it down pat. They're remembering, stay low, drive. So stuff like that. We're definitely improving. So we're moving on the right track.
So let me just say something. Boulder doesn't always have the biggest linemen.
Right.
So teaching them at a young age how to be physical
Right.
and to get low, and that's going to be a big advantage for a lot of these kids when they get into high school. So that's awesome. That's really amazing that you do that. Seriously.
And it takes it really does take a special kind of coach to coach in youth when you're not a parent of the children. A lot of times, and you hear the term daddy ball a lot.
Yeah.
We are not a daddy ball program. I don't have kids in the program. My kids are in high school. Obviously, Red doesn't have kids. He's too young for kids. But you really need to kind of adapt to the players and to how to talk to them. He just has a natural inclination. He's able to speak to them where they listen. He's not talking down to them. He's not overly yelling at them. He's giving the proper instruction. And that's what they need, especially, and he said, and he's been helping me a lot on the sixth grade team. It's really fundamentals when you get there. These are kids, I'd say 95% of the kids on that team until this year had never played a down of tackle football.
Yeah.
So you're talking about starting a team from scratch as you get. So we needed to really put those building blocks in place. I mean, as simple as what's a 3-point stance, and doing it so that you're not just going to fall over in one direction, because there's something really funny when you watch kids the very first time trying to get in a 3-point stance where it's just the most unnatural positioning for them to do.
Absolutely.
They don't know what to do. Their hand's too close. It's too far. They look like they're going to fall to one side or fall to the other side. It's really it's a lot. But for what we've been able to do and specifically coach with the line, because that's the biggest challenge in youth, because we do have flag football at the younger levels. So while flag football isn't football, it does at least allow kids to run routes and learn how to catch. But the linemen don't get any instruction until they start playing tackle football.
Yeah,
so that's when
exactly.
those kids are really starting from day one, playing tackle football. So that's something that they're not used to. With the receivers, we just have to get them used to when you catch the ball, you're going to get hit.
Yeah.
That's the biggest difference for them. Or angles, especially for tackling if you're in the defensive backfield. You can't just pull a flag. You have to actually put your body in a position so that you can make the right kind of tackle.
Yeah.
So that's like I said, the job at that level especially, and even going into the 7th and 8th grade team, because a lot of those kids were new also, is really teaching the linemen. You have to train up the linemen so that you're then competing. And for a second-year program, to have a 2-2 8th grade team and a 4-0 6th grade team, I mean, if I told you last year that we would be here at this point, I think you were crazy.
Yeah.
Crazy, but,
No, that's awesome. And that's the growth that you want, though. That's the growth that you want, as in, you want to look back at it and be like, I never thought we'd be at this point. Because then you're going to see it. When these kids get to high school, I mean, you're going to feel good. And then when they come back to you and they're like, hey, I see Coach Dunnigan. Coach Dunnigan was my first coach in 4th grade, and he still coaches the high school. So, I think what you guys are doing here is amazing. And I think what you're doing is amazing. Truthfully, teaching the kids at a young age can be difficult, but, it sticks with them, and the type of role models that they have around them are very important. I still remember all of my youth coaches to this day, and I actually still see them around Boulder City because that's just how Boulder City is. So, I just think it's amazing what you guys do, and thank you for what you guys do. But we're going to bring on a player for now. Thank you, Big Red, for coming on. Of course, thank you. So first we're going to bring on Asa Mariani.
QB1, walking up to the mic first.
Welcome.
What's up?
So this is Coach Bubba's son. Plays QB. Quite the stud, I heard. Not just from your dad, but from everybody. Parker Reynolds, too. Shout out him. But, let's talk a little bit about playing the QB spot at a young age. I played QB when I was really young, and it was a lot of fun. But, you start to learn a little bit of becoming a leader. That's a big thing about being a quarterback. So talk a little bit about becoming a leader, as you're going into high school.
Yeah, you got to learn the concepts. You got to take charge. You got to know what everyone's doing. So you got to really pay attention during practice. Got to pay attention during the games. Got to read the defense. Got to get under center. Got to get dirty. It's all that fun jazz, and it's really fun. I love it. It's best position in football. What can I say?
No, definitely. Talk about the season you guys have had so far, and you're on the 8th grade team, so you're 2-2, which you're fighting for a playoff spot right now, which is fun. That's so much fun when you're in the youth levels. So talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, just playing good. We had a little bit of an upset last week with Moapa, but we played great. Honestly, we were missing a couple of guys, which would have been pretty good, but just kind of on defense, we just got to stop them better. We give up not a lot of points, but when we give up the points, it's kind of a game killer, honestly. Offense always drives. Offense is really good, honestly. We got best receiver in the league. Best receiver in the league. And just toss the ball up to him, and it's a touchdown, honestly.
Well, that's good. I mean, that's good that you guys are building that camaraderie now as youngins. And, playing the spot, you're going to have to start to, more than just reading the field and stuff, like how Gage is to the other team, you're going to have to start becoming a real leader on the field and making sure people are you're trusted by some. And it seems like you are. So that's awesome. I think you're doing a great job.
And let me add something on and specifically just to toot Ace's horn a little bit here. He's one of the most prepared youth football quarterbacks I've ever met at any level, and I've been doing this a long time in multiple states. But last year, because he was our quarterback last year, on a Monday night, trailing in the game on, 4th and 10, he audibles a quarterback sneak right up the middle and gets a 15-yard first down on the game-winning drive. I'm trying to use some language not like his. The gall on this kid to do that, like the confidence at 13 years old to be able to make that call in a game that you're down in on 4th down and run right up the middle for 15 yards on an audible. That takes a lot. So this kid has it, and you got to know his name now because you're gonna see it on Friday nights a lot. This kid's gonna put up numbers.
That's awesome, and the work starts now, and you're putting it all in right now. So when you get up to high school, you can just worry about reading defenses and just toning your game. So congrats to you. Continue on what you're doing. And, I've heard nothing but good things, and I'm excited to see where you go. But thank you so much for coming on up. And now we're going to bring on Axel Campbell. Yeah, let's go. Is this your wide receiver?
Yes, sir.
There you go. Look, there's the...
So Axel is a tremendous wide receiver. Not only is
Okay.
he tall, but he's got great hands. He's also a really good linebacker. He hits like a ton of bricks. I mean, if you've ever seen any of his hits, he has highlight reel hits, this kid. So I'll let you take it from there.
First off, how tall are you?
I'm around 5'10".
5'10"? Nice. All right. So, talking about wide receiver and linebacker, actually, let's talk about wide receiver first. So, he says that you're the best receiver in the league and that he just throws it up to you a little bit. But let's talk about your preparation. It's not just all just going up and grabbing balls and all, but, you have to have crisp routes, make sure you get separation, and talk a little bit about what you do in practice to prepare for that.
Yeah, in practice, I just have fun. Outside of practice, I like to train on my own.
Nice.
Sometimes go to the park near my house, get some footwork in, catch a few balls with my dad,
Nice.
and just, always ready.
No, that's awesome. And are you excited to hopefully be one of the big receivers here at Boulder City?
Yes, sir.
Oh, that's awesome. That's awesome. All right, let's go to linebacker. I got moved into a linebacker position my senior year, and it was one of the funnest things I've ever played. But like how Ace is on the offense, you are a captain on the defense. So talk a little bit about how you make sure people are in line and making sure that your defense is set on every play.
I just, make sure everybody's ready. I like to try and read the offense, call out the plays, lay a hit.
No, I mean, that's the best thing to do. Laying a hit is definitely big. Okay, so let's talk about your biggest play with Asa. Talk about you back of your head, you're like, dude, this one play, he threw it up, I went and snagged it. Like, talk about it from your perspective. Let's hear a play.
Yeah, the play I'm thinking about is against Hurricane.
Okay.
1 yard line. The
Okay.
play before this, it was a 99-yard touchdown with the other wide receiver. His name's
Okay.
Caden Roy.
Okay.
But I got it called back because I laid a blindside hit.
Oh, okay. It's okay, right?
And then I'm just so angry at this point, and I'm like, I know I got to get my get back here.
Gotcha.
And I'm on the go ball on this play, and I see Asa throw it up. I got two people in front of me. I'm just like, I know I got to make a play here. Catch the ball and take it to the house,
That's awesome. You remember? I'm guessing he remembers that one too. No, that's awesome. That's super cool. Those are the type of plays that you're going to remember when you're younger. I still remember some of the plays that I have with my friends. So, that's awesome. And are you excited to be going into high school here?
So excited, man.
So excited to play some high school ball here soon. But first, you got to go secure a playoff spot. And I know that you guys will here in the next 2 games. So play your butt off and keep doing what you're doing, working at the park after. If this is really what you want to do, that's the type of stuff that's going to get you to the next level on whatever you want to do, even if maybe it's basketball, maybe it's football or volleyball, whatever. But thank you so much for coming up.
Yep.
And thank you for the story. I visualized that right in my head. And, that's probably an awesome story that you'll remember forever. So next we're going to bring up Raymond McCoy, another running back and linebacker, actually. Thank you for coming up.
So Ray's the last of our 8th grade players coming up. He's
Okay.
a running back and linebacker.
Okay.
Another hard hitter and hard runner. Ray, take it away.
All right, running back and linebacker. Okay, so you're another little captain of the team on the defensive side, and then running back's an interesting position. You got to have people just think you just run the ball, but you got to have great vision and have great mentality to know which holes you're going to take, what to do at what time, what lineman to follow. So talk a little bit about being a running back at the 8th grade level.
It's like, it's nothing real much. You just got to know what you're doing. You got to do your job. You have to be able to read the hole. You just have to be able to read the hole, know what you're doing.
Nice.
Do your job. And that's about it. Run with the hot-headed team. Yeah.
Nice. I'm guessing you lay some big hits too?
Yeah.
Nice. No, that's what we want. That's awesome.
And in that same game that Axel caught that 99-yard touchdown pass, he actually sealed the win with an interception on goal for what was it? It was a goal line stand. And he intercepted the ball with time expiring and ran it back about 30 yards.
So I guess I guess you just stole your story then. I guess that's your story. No, that's awesome. Those type of wins, well, like I said, will always stick with you and you'll always remember those. But let's talk a little bit about going into playoffs. What are you most excited for or let's talk about the last 2 games before playoffs. Sorry. What are you most excited for these next 2 games?
I'm excited. We're gonna go play our hearts out, knowing that like we still have a chance in the playoffs. We're gonna be playing with the hot-headed team after last week too.
Nice.
And I'm just excited. And we beat this team in a scrimmage before. They're nothing special. We just all got to do our job.
Hey, yeah. That's awesome. That's a great response. I think that you guys are going to come out flying, especially when you're fighting for a playoff spot. I think you guys are going to have the time of your lives to finish out the season. Seriously, before going into high school, I think you guys are going to finish out great. But let's talk a little bit more. Let's talk a little bit about leadership on the defensive side. Do you think you're more of a leader? What do you do to get your team prepared? Like I told the other linebacker, what do you do to get your team prepared before the snap?
Like, I'll just get them, I don't know how to explain it. I just get in their face,
Yeah. Hey, good job. Hey, man, if you have to get in their face and tell them to line on up, that's totally fine. That's what your job is.
Yeah, I just get them up and get them ready to go
smack somebody. That's what they want. They want a leader that's gonna get up in their face and say, "Hey, get over to the B hole," because you're actually supposed to be there when they think they're in the A hole. That's the leader that they want. So that's awesome. That's good to hear that they've got those type of leaders on the younger team that are coming up to the high school that are gonna be future leaders. And like you said, we're gonna hear you guys' names on Friday nights. So that's awesome. I'm really excited for you guys, seriously. But we're gonna go over to the younger team now. Thank you so much for coming up. We're gonna call up Roman McCoy. I think it's your younger brother, right? Yeah, there we go. We've got family blood up in here.
So a little preface on Roman here. Roman is a star running back.
Okay.
Roman is a 2-time MVP from the Utah League before they moved here. He led the league in touchdowns last year. He probably could be leading the league in touchdowns this year. I'd have to do the math on everybody's within our division, but
quite the stud then.
He is quite a player.
So is running back your thing then?
Yes.
100%.
100%.
Awesome. So you watch college football? So have you been watching Ashton Gentry? Boise State running back. Super, super good right now. You should watch some film on him. Super good. But just wondering if you started watching him. But let's talk a little bit about your season. So you said you could be leading the league in touchdowns right now. So talk a little bit about that. What your line is obviously pretty good, is what Big Red said. You're going behind a pretty good line. So talk a little bit about what you've been able to do this year.
I feel like I'm good at getting outside.
Nice.
And if it's like a 1v1,
nice.
I'm probably going to go hit stick him.
Perfect. Hey, some people want to hit stick, some people want to juke. As long as it doesn't matter. That's awesome. That's super cool. And then on the you played, is this DN?
He's a defensive end.
Okay.
We got speed ends on the young team. Absolutely.
Nice. So how's it playing on the line? That's where the real war is.
I feel like it's not that hard. It's pretty easy.
Yeah. No, it makes if it is, it is. That's stick. That's so awesome.
The person that usually goes to guard me is a tight end because they like to put the strong side on my side.
Okay.
Usually the first time I go up versus him, I hit him, and it makes him scared of me, and then the rest of the time I just go outside.
You've got a great mentality. That's exactly the mentality you want. Make them not want to play anymore at the beginning of the game and just keep going around them. Wow, that's awesome. You definitely got the football mentality in you, and it seems like it. How many touchdowns do you think you got on the year?
Right now?
Right now.
We had 3 just in the last game.
Jeez.
So 3.
It's probably got
9.
No, you have 8 or 9.
Wow.
Yeah, you have 8 or 9 touchdowns.
In four games. It's a lot. That's good stats.
He is a legitimate player. He's gonna grow. He's gonna grow into the skill that he has.
That is awesome.
That's the thing. He's a scary good player.
That is awesome.
I guarantee you, they would have taken him to the older team, had they had the choice to do it. To have that extra weapon up there.
That makes sense. That's awesome. Last question. Talk about your favorite run. One that you can think about from this year.
So mine would probably be, I think we were at the 30 or 20, and we ran a hook and ladder.
Okay.
It was our 30. Yeah, because
Okay.
it was our 30.
We had it was like a mid throw. So it was a good catch by our wide receiver, Nick, and he pitched a dot and took it to the house.
I could actually give a little. It's even more impressive than he's even giving credit for. It's actually, no, now that I think about it, we were on the 20. We were on our 20. It was 3rd and 20. And I said, and we've been practicing, and I'm like, I'm going to give it a shot. Let's do it. Perfect play. We ended up winning the game 8-7. That was the winning score on that. So we had a safety and then that. So he did. When I saw open field, when he caught that pitch, I knew no one was going to touch him. He was gone.
Well, that's awesome, and thank you so much for coming up, and good luck to you for the rest of your season, and continue to be the monster that you are. So, next, we're going to bring up Nick DeMarco. I guess this is the wide receiver from the play, right?
It is.
Okay, well, I guess we'll get the other perspective.
And Nick is another one of our captains. Nick has some of the best hands I have ever seen. He's another legitimate player. Speedy, fast. Him and Roman. That's the one thing about him and Roman is no matter what the score is, no matter where I am on the field, I know I am one play away from breaking one.
Yeah.
That's all. I need to give it to him. And we are going to score no matter where we are. I just have to figure out the right place.
I mean, man, that's a great dilemma to have. So, Nick, playing wide receiver at the young age, it's a lot of fun. You probably get to make a good amount of, probably amazing catches down the field, get the ball slung to you. But talk a little bit about the preparation that you take to go into the game.
My preparation normally starts in the off season. Do training once a week. Always working on my skills.
Nice.
When it comes to tackle, I have to have that killer mentality that no one's better than me, and I could just beat everyone out there.
That is a great answer. I think you're absolutely right. You got to have that kind of mentality. And when you start young, I think if this is what you want to do, you'll keep that mentality growing up. Talk a little bit about the play. Let's talk about the play a little bit. A hook and ladder. You catch the ball. I guess it was a dot pitch over to Roman, and you guys take it to the house. So talk about your perspective.
So I'm in the huddle. I hear the play, and I'm like, oh, I have to catch this ball because the game's on the line right here because I knew we were going to score from it.
Okay.
High ball, 2 people coming at me ready to hit me. Then I just toss it right to Roman, and then he takes it all the way.
Would you say that that's one of your favorite plays too?
Yeah.
Definitely. That's awesome. Do you play any defense?
I do play defense.
Okay, it doesn't say on here. What do you play on defense? Safety. Okay, safety is one of my favorite positions. I love to ball hawk all over the field. I'm a small little guy, so I would just run around the field and just ball hawk whenever I could. So talk about playing safety in the younger division.
It's definitely a fun position because you get to hit a lot of people. Not as many picks, but more hits. Yeah. Because teams in our division just like to run the ball because I say we have the best secondary in the league.
Nice.
So if teams throw that, we're going to pick it off.
Nice. That's definitely that mentality around your secondary is the mentality you want. You want everybody to be on the same page and say, you know what, if anybody throws on us, I know this guy's going to pick it off. Yeah. I know that guy's going to pick it off. And if it comes to me, I know for sure I'm going to pick it off. It's the mentality you want across the board. And that seems like that's the mentality that's being built on the lower team and on the 8th grade team is it. I haven't seen that type of mentality for a long time in Boulder City, truthfully, of really wanting to play football and really wanting to put a hurt to someone, and not in a bad way, but in a way of they're not going to hurt me back if I'm on the field. So, that's awesome that's the kind of mentality you have. But we're going to bring up Max Hill, our last one. Thank you so much for coming up, Nick.
Thank you.
Big Max.
Max.
Max is another one of our captains, and it's nice to have a little love for some of the linemen, on the team, because they are really the unsung heroes of every game. You do not win a game without the linemen.
Of course.
It's such an important part of the game, and
course.
nobody talks about them. You never see their faces. Well, here you got the big hoss himself up here to just talk about it a little bit, about his experiences. So
That's awesome. So let's talk about lineman is definitely what you want. You're a lineman breathing every single day, right?
Yeah, mostly. I've played flag before. I've always been a QB in my flag days. But I've loved playing offensive lineman and defensive lineman this year.
Nice, that's awesome.
Just been a great experience this year.
That's awesome. And, playing offensive line at such a young age, like he said, you don't always get enough credit, but you guys are the backbone to every single thing that's going on. And you being obviously one of the star linemen, you're obviously one of the big components on why the team rolls. So always take pride in that. And let's talk a little bit about playing the line in the lower level. How is it? Is it a little dirty down there in the line, or is it really not too bad so far?
It's
you could be
good.
honest.
Yeah, it's a little rough.
Okay.
We've tried to improve. We've tried to get our line better and better.
Nice.
We have our biggest kids out on our line, our offensive line, and we try our hardest to block all the people.
And that's all that matters, is that you try your hardest and you have fun. That's all that matters. Is You're going to get better if you do those two things, and you're going to have more and more fun as you get better. So that's awesome. And, go into every single game knowing that you're going to be one of the biggest components on why the team wins today is my blocking. So that's awesome, seriously. Let's talk a little bit about your favorite play. Is there a favorite block that you threw that you saw maybe Roman running up the field and you're like, okay, that was me for sure?
One of my favorite plays was actually not in a game.
Okay.
It was in practice. We were running just some scrimmage plays, and we had a run to the left on my side. And so I broke off of my end, and I had wide open space, and Roman just followed me. And we were running, and I blew this kid up right in the end zone.
That's awesome. No, that's awesome. You pancaked him. Yeah.
And,
that's awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome. That's what you want, man. You want to be a pulling guard that gets to fling around the corner and find one of those worry little linebackers or worry little corners or safeties and just get to light them up. That's the best part about being a lineman. So take pride in that, man. That is awesome. And you play D-line?
Yes.
Awesome. So talk a little bit, who DN with Roman, right?
Yeah.
Talk a little bit about playing the D-line.
D-line is awesome. You just, as playing nose guard, like coming up the middle of the center, forcing them outside. We have great ends at the end, Roman and Aiden.
Nice.
And so, if we just push through the middle, then we know that we have those tackles with our ends.
That's awesome.
They don't block.
Yeah, it seems like the younger team has definitely got they've got a trust in each other for sure. I mean, definitely in the secondary, and it seems like on the line too, and that's awesome. That's definitely good to hear, and it seems like you guys are going to go very, very far this year, and I'm really excited to see where you guys go. But we're going to finish off with Coach. Coach, you can stay up here too. Coach, let's talk about the end of the season. Just one little question. How do you picture your team to end, and how do you picture the 8th grade team to end? Or where do you want to see them at the end of the season?
Well, I think the 8th grade team is going to take their last 2 games, and they're going to make it into the playoffs, and then all bets are off once you're there.
Yeah.
That's it. Brand new season.
Nice.
And the same thing for 6th grade. Right now we're working on solidifying that number 1 spot. There's a lot of teams fighting for that number 4 spot in our division, so we don't have any idea of who we may play. We can only worry about the schedule that's in front of us. both are going to be playoff teams regardless, the next two teams we play. So we are constantly preparing for the playoffs because of the competition we have. But, you know, because we take this seriously and we're trying to build something here, you know, we watch tape. We do things like tomorrow we have a Zoom call where we're going to go over the tape of the team we're playing. We don't have to watch last week's tape because we had a bye, but we always watch last week's film. We correct our mistakes. We get ready. We may change some things around. I'm not gonna give my exactly what I'm gonna do for the playoffs, but I have a plan on what we're thinking about doing offensively and defensively in the playoffs. But I think that both teams have a really good shot at going far. But again, it's getting the playoffs, brand new season, 0-0, and then let's just do our job. And the mantra that I keep saying to the kids is, you know, especially when we clinch the playoff spot, job's not done. Finish the job. That's the saying for the rest of the season is finish the job. And that's the mentality they're going to carry over. Like, the idea of all of this isn't just, again, you win youth championships, who cares? It's the mentality you want to build.
Exactly.
It's the family that they're creating now, and it's that killer instinct which you're hearing from some of them now. That, you know, those things that Axel's saying, those things Nick's saying, like Roman and Max and everybody and Ray. Like, it's that killer mentality that we want to then filter in as they're growing older and as they're in the high school. So by the time they're juniors and seniors, they're cracking skulls. And suddenly we're the team that everyone's worried about every single week. And we're like, oh, God, I don't want to go. Like how everyone's like, oh, it's Moapa. Oh, God. Well, I want them to say, oh, God, it's Boulder City. We have to play them. Like, that's where we're going with this. We're producing the players for Bubba to then go do his magic over in the big building.
You know, that's awesome.
If I could just make a quick comment, Coach, hopefully you can hear me out there. So what do you have your boys doing in the off season? Because the other part about this whole camaraderie thing and growing up together and playing together is you got to get, and I'm a big proponent of this, you got to get kids playing 3 sports. You know, you've got to, went to camera 4. You got to get kids playing 3 sports. So you got to get your linemen wrestling in the winter. As soon as football season's over, you got to send them to wrestling. We have one of the best wrestling programs in this state right here in Boulder City. And even in the youth programs, send them over to Coach Cox, Coach Haynes, Coach Garvin, Coach Ruth. All those guys will take care of you. You want to get your linemen into wrestling. And then in the spring, you want them in track, you know, throwing discus and shot put and getting those fundamentals down. So I'm always talking about linemen need to do these things. So linemen's got to be 3 sport athletes every single year, every single lineman. I'm a big proponent of that. Then I'm a big proponent of sending your linebackers to play basketball. It makes them super fast. And if you send them to play boys volleyball too, also gets them very fast. Receivers should definitely be playing boys volleyball. And basketball too. Again, it just gets them their decision making much faster, gets their reflexes faster. So here in Boulder City, tell me about that. Are you pushing your kids into these programs?
Real quick though,
Coach Bubba.
As the baseball coach, let's get some guys to play baseball too.
Yeah, no. I was gonna say I wasn't gonna leave baseball out to dry here. Don't worry about it, Bubba.
Kill me.
So last year, I pushed a lot of our kids into the Junior Eagles wrestling program right after the season because I had the same mentality. Keep them, especially wrestling. My son wrestles also. I'm a big proponent of the physicality of it and gets them used to just being physical. Again, it's one-on-one, it's contact, it's physicality, and I'm a big proponent of that. And it's one of those things that I did want to push people into, and I think a fair number of the kids that played for us last year did go into wrestling. As for playing sports, I mean, we are going to have 7-on-7 again for our receivers. We run lineman clinics. Actually, we call it Big Red's lineman clinic that he runs during the wintertime, which actually is also a recruitment tool for us to bring kids in and to see if they're interested in playing. Yeah. And we are, and again, we also have Look, Boulder City's also a baseball town, so there's only so much we could do in the spring. everyone goes into baseball. But as long as everyone's staying active and not just sitting on their couch and playing Madden, I mean, yeah, that's great. If you're going to be a coach, it may tell you some plays. It doesn't help you playing the sport. They just have to keep active and keep working on their skills. With these kids, I know they are. I know they're driven. Our mantra from day one is that the goal of this program is to win a state championship in Boulder City High School, and every day you need to do something small to further that. It's on you to do that, because that's how I enter every day. With this program that we're doing on the youth level, did I do something today for the youth program that in the future will pay dividends for Bubba's program in the high school? That's the obsession that I have to have on it. That's the obsession that I try to push on the kids, that's what it takes. There's a certain mentality that it takes to be a champion. And if you really want to be that, you have to do more than just show up at practice for an hour and a half or 2 hours during the fall. If you do that, you're never going to touch that championship ring, ever. That's not how champions win. So that you have to always be preparing in some way, whether it's playing another sport, whether it's mentally getting there, whether it's doing drills on your own. That's really what you need to do. And as soon as that mentality filters up, through the program from us into the high school, you're going to see it. I mean, you're looking at Bears right now that are freshmen that are getting time on JV, that may, if we get lucky, get some time on varsity. Like the kids that we trained last year who are starting to get that mentality, so it will pay dividends. Obviously, we have a 5 to 6 year plan here, from the youth level. Obviously, we want to win state championships every year in the high school level. So they have a 1 year, this is it plan, but I have the longer term vision.
You're talking about the dynasty.
I'm talking about giving the kids that Bubba can build a dynasty off of. Exactly. That's what the goal of our program is. And that's going to be the goal from today and tomorrow. I'm not going anywhere. My kid's not in the program, so I don't age out of it. Like there's not going to be a day that I'm going to be like, like they're going to have to worry, oh, my kid's graduating, so we have to find a new person to help do this. No, you have to deal with my insanity the rest of the time anyway. That's kind of how it works.
That's awesome. It's amazing that what you do here, because I played in the youth football, and like I tell you every single time is I remember everything. I still have games that are on YouTube from when I was little. Like I still look back at them with my friends, and I truthfully when I had to go in 8th grade and go down to Vegas to play ball, it sucked because I didn't know anybody, and I was trying to meet new people and play with them instead of the year before I was with all of my friends playing youth ball. So what you're doing and what Coach Bubba is doing is definitely beneficial for Boulder City, and I think everybody sees that. And you guys, no matter if you guys make the playoffs or what, you guys are moving in the right direction with everything. So
sure. I mean, some programs, and I know we're wrapping up, so I'll make it very quick. Some programs, it takes years before they even get their first win. I mean, in our first year, we got 2 wins, and then we went to a bowl game. In our second year, now we have 2 teams, and we have 2 fighting for playoff positioning, one that's got a chance to be in number 1. I mean, we're trending in the right direction. We're going to get there. I mean, if you follow our trajectory, there's no ending in sight for this. So I'm pretty excited about where we're going. Well, thank you so much for coming up, and thank you to all the players that came up and gave us some great interviews today. I'm really excited to see where you guys are going, and thanks to Coach Bubba. Go kick democracy perhaps butt this week. But that's darn right. That's it from us at the Boulder City Sportsnet. Thank you so much for tuning in. We hope to see you next week. And go Eagles. Go Eagles.
Thank you, guys. The Boulder City Sports Network is sponsored by Superior Builders, Inc. of Nevada, building spec residential and commercial with our investment partners for nearly 20 years. Contact Aaron at sbinevada.com for more information. And the I&I Music and Podcast Studio. If you're interested in using the studio, you can contact Dawn at iandimusic.studio. And EV Park, revenue-generating charging stations for apartments, hotels, offices, and short-term rentals. Contact sales at evpark.com to find out how your property can generate a new income stream.